The Witch is a movie set in the 1600s about a family who were abolished from a church and their young baby go missing from a witch in the forest, and the family unfortunately has to deal with the loss of their family, and a whole bunch of weird stuff starts popping off. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, what the heck is it I'm doing? I can assure you that I'm not a witch. I should probably take this off. Now, right off the bat, I was very, very hyped for The Witch. I saw a couple of reviews. I saw one in particular from Jeremy Johns and another one in particular from Chris Stuckman, who are both very high-praised YouTube reviewers, and they know their stuff. I'm big fans of them, so when I watched the reviews and I heard some of the good stuff that they had to say about the film, I was very much interested. I was intrigued, so I looked up the trailer, and the trailer seemed very interesting. I was a little hesitant at first because I was afraid that it might have been sort of like a repeat of what the Babadook was for me, an overhyped piece of garbage in my opinion. I didn't enjoy the Babadook whatsoever. A lot of people were praising it as this really great horror film, and while I enjoyed some aspects of the film and I can see where some of the reviewers were coming from, me personally, I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't find anything scary about it. I know there's sort of like an underlying tone hidden within the storytelling and everything like that, which, you know, in a sense, the realism of the film and what they're trying to portray is in fact scary. However, me personally, it just didn't stick with me. So I was a little bit afraid that this might have been a repeat when I went to see The Witch. However, that was not the case. I ended up really enjoying this film, to a degree, of course. I can say right off the bat that the cinematography was very beautiful. There were some really nice shots, some very, very interesting elements in the film as well, and most importantly, the acting was very, very well done. There aren't any notable characters, actors I should say, that I can notice right off the bat that I was familiar with. To me, some of them are, a lot of newcomers or just people that I'm not familiar with at all. But they all did their jobs very, very well, especially considering the old English that's used and the phrasing of some of the words, and they had to talk in that tongue, the way that they did back in the day, in that time era. So you really have to put yourself in that period in order to really grasp the whole concept and really feel what this family is feeling, and kind of the aura of like this fairy tale, that this story that they're telling, to be able to sort of believe that a witch is lurking around the woods and stealing babies and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. It's a little bizarre, very bizarre to kind of tell that type of story in this day and age, this generation. So the fact that they really went all the way back to that era in which, a lot of these sort of tales and everything were not blown out of proportion, but, they had more truth to them back then than they do now, because there's a lot of skeptics and just a lot of video footage of anything in general, not just witches, that kind of debunk the realism of these creatures and stuff like that. So I really did enjoy how they kind of paid homage to that time period. It was very well done in my opinion. The directing was phenomenal. Just a lot of the stuff in general were really good. There was one kid in particular who kind of got on my nerves a little bit. He was the younger boy, one of the siblings in the family. He was rubbing me the wrong way. There were a couple of things where I was like, "Ugh, what are you doing?" Like borderline incestual, which without getting into spoiler territory. But towards like the middle act of the film, he just delivers this incredible performance, just totally out of left field, and I was left with, just speechless, honestly. I thought it was phenomenal. He did a crazy job. I was like, wow, like, this kid is going places, honestly. And, not to steal any thunder away from any of the other actors, because they did a great job as well, but just that one scene in particular really made him stick out amongst the rest of the group. So I would really like to see him in a couple other different projects in the future as well. This film, it had sort of a creepy vibe. There were some elements of the film where I was left just kind of not shaken, not scared or anything like that, because I don't get scared with films at all. But there were definitely some disturbing imagery, a lot of disturbing imagery in this film that's just very bizarre, And I feel like the fact that it was put in that time period of the 1600s really made it come to life that much more, you know what I mean? So it was very, very enjoyable, all those, that imagery and stuff like that. And there's one scene in particular with this goat that is just very odd. I don't know, it's very uncomfortable. A lot of stuff with the animals in general in this film are very uncomfortable. Even a freaking rabbit managed to, like, make me feel uncomfortable, which is odd. But that's just a detriment to how well that they, made this film and how motivated they were to really bring to life this sort of fairy tale, to kind of make witches, scarier again, if that makes sense. But anyways, I enjoyed the film. The ending fell a little bit flat because it kind of just really came out of nowhere. It was one of those that ended abruptly. One of those types of films which, it wasn't that bad, but at the same time I was just like, that's it. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. And then before the end credits rolled, it's said, I'm paraphrasing, something along the lines of, the events in this film were taken from, documents from that era and stuff like that, from journal entries and diaries and such. So, pretty interesting stuff. Very interesting, actually. So, if you're sort of intrigued with that sort of time period and all that witch stuff, I'd say check out the movie. It's not for every moviegoer. You got this generation who are really roped into the theaters with all these jump scare, BS, terrible horror movie, cliche-ridden, mind-numbing pieces of junk that they call film. That was quite the sentence, I know. So, there's that aspect that you have to look at it. But if you're somewhat of a movie buff, or, you're just intrigued with that whole era, I'd say give it a go. I wouldn't flock to the nearest theater just to check it out. I would wait for it to, come out on DVD or Blu-ray, or just even rent it. It's not one of those to go out of your way to check it out. But anyways, those are my thoughts on The Witch. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the film. If you enjoyed my review, please leave a like. Share this video with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever social media platform that you use. Favorite this video, and most importantly, subscribe, please, so you can get more awesome reviews just like this, short films and fan films, all that good stuff. And I will see you all in the next video.